Everyone, welcome back. My name's dustinkreis, and today we're going to talk about a demo. We're going to talk about the demo for Bravely Default Flying Fairy for the Nintendo 3DS. And I haven't finished it completely yet. I'm about halfway through it, but I have to say I was kind of excited for this game before, but now I am ridiculously excited for it. This is going to be a great JRPG on the Nintendo 3DS. A little history, this game is kind of a spiritual successor to Final Fantasy the Four Heroes of Light. And when I originally heard that, I had not played Four Heroes of Light yet, but right now I am playing Four Heroes of Light. And as I'm playing it, I was kind of getting a little worried about it, because Four Heroes of Light is a little bit annoying in places. And I'll kind of save that for my eventual Four Heroes of Light discussion when I do that video. But I have to say they did everything that I like about Four Heroes of Light, and then they just improved it. All the annoyances of that game is gone in this one, and it's really going to be something awesome. And it's free on the Nintendo eShop. I highly suggest you guys go download it, check it out. It's kind of like the Fire Emblem Awakening demo in that you get 30 uses out of it before it goes away. So the cool thing about it, though, is it doesn't intrude on the storyline of the game. It's not like you're playing the introductory part of the game. It just kind of drops you down this area, gives you some side quests and a little bit of the map to explore, and then just lets you kind of see what the game's all about. You have a bunch of jobs already at your disposal. You can kind of mix and match and see what all the different things do. And it's not like you're going to play this demo and then you're going to get the full game and then you're going to be like 4 hours into the game already. That's not the way it works. But it does reward you for playing the demo. You get certain item perks and things like that you can earn in the demo for the game when it eventually comes out here in like a month and a half or something like that. But anyway, I'm starting to get stuffed up. I'm sorry. Let's go ahead and get into it and kind of talk about it. Storyline-wise, you get kind of inkling of what's going on in the world, but there's really no storyline to talk about per se. That being said, I really do kind of like the characters. As little as they've sort of interacted, you can kind of get a flavor for their eventual personalities in the game, and I like the sort of the world that the game creates. There's a very nice the main town that you're in is very cool to look at, and it's kind of presented in an interesting way, and we'll talk about that in the graphics. Really the big thing with this is the gameplay, and this is where you're going to get kind of hung up, because when you first start this demo, this game is going to seem ridiculously hard, and that's because your characters have just the shittiest equipment in the game. So you kind of have to go out and do this first side quest mission, and your characters are going to constantly be dying because you don't have enough money to really buy good armor, and these enemies out there hit pretty hard. So you're going to think to yourself, holy crap, this game is going to get ridiculously hard. Plus you have to kind of wrap your head around this new battle system. But once you start, getting that first quest done, getting some money, buying some better equipment, the game really starts to open up and you start to feel, okay, I can handle this. So I think when the actual game comes out, it'll ease you into things a bit better. But the battle system is really kind of cool, and I'm really excited to sort of explore it even more in the full game. Basically what it is, it kind of takes the Four Hero of Light, how you had to build up you had those 5 dots that you had to build up in the battle system, and that's kind of how you used your magic and your abilities and things like that, and your basic attacks. So what it does is you start out every battle at 0 brave points, and what you can do, you have a lot of options at your disposal. If you just want to attack, you can go ahead and attack, and it'll drop you down to -1 brave points. Now, before I get too in depth with this, let's kind of talk about the brave points for a second. By defaulting, this is where it kind of gets that title, Bravely Default. By defaulting, basically what you're doing is defending, and it allows you to build up an extra brave point. So you start off at 0, spend that first turn defaulting, you'll then have 1 brave point. Okay. After you get you can go up to 3 doing this. I think at least 3 is the maximum in the demo. I'm not sure in the full game how much it's going to be. Where was I at? So you can build up these brave points, and then at any point in time, you can, well, not any point in time, when the menu pops back up and it's your turn again, you can select brave instead. And essentially what that does is it allows you to take an extra turn with that character. So let's say you build up, like for instance, in one of the boss battles, I had Agnes as a white mage. So I braved her up to 3, and then this boss sort of unleashed this powerful attack, really weakened my characters down. So what I was able to do was brave her 4 times. You can go to -2 in this. You can brave to -2, so I guess that'd be 5 turns. And I used her to cure for 4 of them and attack on the last one to deal some extra damage. So in 1 turn, Agnes was able to cast heal or cure on all the characters and attack. Now this puts her into -2 brave points. The bad part about this is that that character will lose turns until they get back to 0. So on the next turn when she's at -2, she can't attack. When she's at -1, she can't attack. And not until she gets back to 0. So there's really a nice risk and reward with this. Some cases it really saved my butt. In other cases it really kind of fucked me over in a couple battles. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that will play out in much larger battles, let's put it that way. Yeah. I'm trying to, all that talking about the brave points, I'm trying to recall what else I wanted to talk about now. But it's going to be a really kind of interesting system, and really, you kind of have to plan out your attacks a lot better, because it seems like physical attacks do next to nothing in this game. They're just kind of worthless little attacks, and most of that was because of my equipment. I started leveling up the characters and getting better equipment, and they started dealing a lot more damage. A big thing about this game is it's a job system game, a lot like Final Fantasy V. And of course, 4 Heroes of Light had a job system as well, but I don't really feel like that system was really what I wanted out of a job system, because how you upgrade the jobs in that game is you just acquire gems and put them on the crowns. This one you actually have to grind and level up job points. So this is going to be a very grind-heavy game. I can already tell that between the side quests and grinding out jobs and levels, this is going to be a massive, massive game. And some of the jobs are really cool, like White Mage. You know what to expect with a White Mage. The 2 I'm currently messing around with that I like the Valkyrie, which is essentially a Dragoon. They have the jump ability, but then as you level up that job, they gain another ability called Crescent Moon, which allows you to strike all the enemies at once. And this is really, really helpful, because sometimes you're going to be facing like up to 6 enemies at a time, and it's just good to kind of hit all those enemies. Another really interesting job is the Sword Master, which has this ability called Nothing Ventured, which essentially they just kind of do nothing. It's a counter job is what it is, and they do nothing that turn, and if they get hit, they unleash this like massive critical attack back to them. So it is kind of a risk-reward thing. You lose out on that damage that they could be dealing with their sword, but on the other hand, if they get hit, and this goes for anything, if it's a multi-attack or anything, they're going to be dealing some massive damage back. Now, the one thing about this job system that's kind of cool is each job has their own abilities. So like the White Mage, of course, has White Magic. But you can also assign a secondary ability to that. So if I wanted to take the Swordmaster's Nothing Ventured and put it onto, the Swordmaster's Bushido, and then want to put it on the White Mage, I could. And that's perfectly fine. There's also support abilities. So you're going to see how you're really going to want to level up all of these jobs, because as you level up the jobs, you can also gain access to support abilities, like the White Mage gets Angelic Wind, which will randomly lower physical damage to the entire party. you can assign this. Each job right now, I don't know about the full game, but each job has like 4 support points that you can assign things to. So like Angelic Wind might take up 2 support points. You have 4 slots that you can assign things to, but you know each ability has a separate amount of points. So you could put Angelic Wind and then have 2 more abilities, and that'd be your 4 points, and you still have an open slot. So as you level up the jobs and get more abilities, it's really going to get interesting to sort of, you know, really how customizable you can make your party, and how I just feel like, especially with the Sword Master and that Nothing Venture, there has to be an ability out there that draws attacks to that person. And I just feel like eventually I'm going to be able to make that Sword Master into just like this devastating thing. So really, you know, that was a lot of script there to get through. But what I'm basically saying is, this game, if you're looking for an RPG that has a lot of gameplay depth to it, as most job system games do, this is really going to satisfy that itch. You know, a lot of ways, people often complain about Final Fantasy not feeling like Final Fantasy anymore. And this game really does feel like Final Fantasy. And I think Square Enix kind of want to move it to be their next kind of handheld franchise, which there's already a sequel out in Japan. And if this game does well, we're going to get it. Back to sort of a normal game discussion here. The graphics, I absolutely love the graphics. I think, you know, a lot of people can complain about the 3DS doesn't pump out as good graphics as the Vita, and that's true. But there's some kind of charm to that, to seeing the flaws in graphics, you know. We're getting to that stage with the PS4 and the Xbox One, and even the Vita, where sort of the charming aspect to graphics, video game graphics, is kind of going by the wayside. And I feel like the 3DS is kind of that last bastion, because even the Wii U is an HD system now, and everything's going to start looking really pretty and pristine on that. Whereas, you know, older games that use sprite-based graphics, I feel like even the HD versions, we're kind of losing that rough edge, that charm to it. And there is a bit of a rough edge to the game. It's kind of, you know, not pixelated. Pixelated is not the right word. But, I don't know, it just kind of reminds me of, like, like maybe a PS1 RPG in some aspects, you know. But it really has that charm to it that I like. And then when you go into the battles, it's kind of weird how the enemies almost look like a Vanillaware game. Look up some gameplay footage and just some screenshots, and tell me if you kind of think that too. Like, it just seems like I'm really thinking about the tiger, or I guess it's a panther that you fight quite often in the desert, and it just really reminds me of some of the enemies, you know, you would see in like Dragon's Crown or something. The music, I haven't got to fully experience the music yet. It's been, you know, just a couple tracks, like an overworld theme, a dungeon theme, and a town theme. I've liked them all, but, you know, it's not really grabbing me quite yet. I'm not too sure who does the music for this game, but I'm really looking forward to exploring more. And, you know, I don't remember if the box set, because I do have the collector's edition pre-ordered. I don't remember if it comes with a soundtrack or not, and even if it does, it's probably going to be one of those shit-eating, you know, selection, you know, things where it's only got like 5 tracks from the game and doesn't even have the tracks you want, so you have to go out and buy the actual soundtrack anyway. But yeah, that's sort of my thoughts on Bravely Default Flying Fairy. I think it's going to be, it's a great way to start off 2014, that's for sure. You know, it's probably going to be one of those games, a lot like Bioshock Infinite or The Last of Us last year, that just kind of, it came out, it was huge, and it stuck with you through the entire year. I think this is going to be one of those games that when it comes around to the end of 2014, a lot of people are still going to put this, a lot of RPG gamers, let's put it that way, are really going to still hold this pretty high on their list. You know, I don't know. We got an entirety of 2014 games to get through, and you never know what's right around the corner, but this feels like a big release, and luckily you guys over in Europe, you know, got this game and got it first, and it really feels like the European publishers are really kind of making an attempt to bring out more JRPGs over there, whereas you know, it feels like we're fighting tooth and nail over here in North America for JRPGs, while countless shooters and things keep coming out. But who knows? Maybe this is the year that everything turns around with this game coming out and X eventually coming out on the Wii U, and we'll see what all kind of goodness they bring to the PS4, because you know they're going to be bringing some RPGs to that PS4. It's going to be really interesting to see what we RPG gamers get. But yeah, guys, go out and make Bravely Default Flying Fairy a success, because there is a sequel, and supposedly I think the version we're getting over here in the States is the revised version of Bravely Default. You know, they always do that in Japan, where like Kingdom Hearts, they'll release Kingdom Hearts, and then they'll release Kingdom Hearts Final Mix. You know, I think we're getting the quote-unquote Final Mix version of Bravely Default over here. And then the sequel is supposed to refine things even more. And I'm going to love sinking my teeth into this game. There's just going to be hours upon hours of gameplay, of leveling up jobs, of mix and matching abilities. There's also a thing, I kind of missed this too, because it's not really going to affect my game too much. It really draws in like street passing. So if a lot of you guys out there street pass a lot, if you street pass somebody who has Bravely Default or on your friends list who's playing it, you can somehow draw them into the game and summon one of their characters to come fight with you, and or share abilities with them. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you're going to be able to do in this game, so it really feels awesome. I'm going to get back to the demo here and kind of finish that out, and I might let it set for a few days, because I think it's still a while before Bravely Default comes out. But yeah, definitely check it out. eShop, it's free to download. You know, I've played for about an hour and a half so far, so it is kind of a lengthy demo. Of course, you can just sit and grind it to your heart's content. But I think it's once you finish the 5 sort of side quests, that's where the demo ends. But if you want to just sit there and grind out like 8 hours of levels, you can. There's really no point, because it's not going to carry over to the game. But yeah, definitely check it out. So that's it for this video. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Take care. I'll see you next time.